welcome everyone to the call. I'm really excited about today. We've got some great presenters and knowing that you're going to get some tremendous value out of today. So today's topic is how hybrid businesses will dominate 2022. And for all of us here, we know what an interesting couple of years it's been. And we've learned a lot. And we've learned a lot about business. We've learned a lot about technology. We've learned a lot about how we need to operate. And I'm pretty excited because what happens is change creates opportunity. And I think a lot of us out there in business are sitting there being bashed around a lot, being locked down, unlocked down, having policies put in place, and predictions of what would happen. Things like employment. They thought unemployment was going to go up. It's gone down. Things like, the expenditure of the government we think is killing us because they're printing money. But I looked at the other side the other day and said, if they're printing money, where's it going? So for business, it's huge opportunity time. And I think one of the things people in business need to realize right now is how do we embrace 2022? With the technology that's around, and we call it hybrid. And hybrid's an interesting term because it's not an either or. Because at the start of COVID, a lot of people said, oh, I can't wait to get back to face-to-face. This whole idea of Zoom, I'm getting Zoom fatigue, blah, 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 blah. And here's the reality. One of the guys I met, I went to a seminar with Dan Sullivan from the States. He runs Strategic Coach. And he made an interesting comment. He said, Zoom is not a communication tool. It's a travel replacement. And I think what we need to realize is a lot of the technology that's come on board right now is not something that we use temporarily. It's something that makes our lives better if we integrate it into what we do. So we're going to be spending a fair bit of time on that today. What I wanted to do is just talk a bit about Outcomes Business Group, who we are. Some of you know of us. I've been running this organization for 20 years this year. We're a business coaching firm. Our vision is simple. We talk about business owners who get beat up too much and they give up. And for me, I think that small business is the lifeblood of our economy. And the small business owner has the ability to actually thrive in this environment that we're in right now, because we've got the ability to diversify, we've got the ability to pivot, to shift, to change, to adapt, and all these things. And often people go into business for all the right reasons. When I ask this question, I say, why did you go into business? There's generally three answers. The first one is, I couldn't get a job, which is interesting. The second one is that I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to have the freedom and lifestyle choices. And the third one is so that I could have the freedom and lifestyle choices. Now, here's what happens. Most people have all the right ideas when they go into business, but they get hijacked. And this is the reason. When we look at businesses, I notice that there's three things, right? The first one is operations. And this is the busyness syndrome. And the most common response I get to how's business is we're flat out, we're busy. And busy is neither good nor bad. It's just a thing, right? And when I ask people when they're busy, we've got plenty of work on, we've got lots of customers, so much so that our admin suffers. And I just need some help, but I can't afford it right now. So we do tend to do our admin in our off hours. And then when we talk about sales and marketing, most people say we don't need to market. We don't need to market. And I say, why is that? And they say, all of our work comes through word of mouth or referral. And we've got more than enough work right now. Now, that's an interesting comment. But what it comes from is this. This business owner is generally stuck inside the business. And what they're saying is that I'm already flat out. I'm already busy. I cannot grow the business any further because I don't have any more time in my day. And connecting the time in your day to the level of business that you can cope with is a flaw in your strategy, right? It's a flaw in your strategy because what it means is as long as you're busy, you can't grow. And so we get people who say, I'd love to grow my business. I just don't have the capacity. Can't find good people. I just want 2 more hours in my day. And this is all just stories. The truth of the matter is, as long as you're the center of the universe, the business can't scale and it'll hit its limits. So what we look for in business is this, right? Operations, administration, and marketing should be of equal proportion within the business, but this is the key element. This person called you, the business owner, should be outside of the day-to-day operations of the business. Now, for some of you, that's terrifying. For some of you, that's a pipe dream. For some of you, I don't ever want to do that. I like being the center of my universe. I like being self-employed. I like being, no one can do it as well as I do. Now, I get all that. But what happens is one day, you might not want to do what you do anymore. You might want to either sell your business. You might want to take a longer break. You might not have a choice. 3 years ago, some of you who know me, I had a pretty major accident, a stupid one. I was kite surfing, and you shouldn't kite surf across a beach and smash into a wall because you end up in hospital for 3 months, and it hurt. But I laugh about it now because I'm back. But at the time, I had 3 months where I couldn't run my business at all. Now, if I was the center of the business, then the business would have stopped. It taught me a super valuable lesson because luckily I'm a coach and I teach this stuff. But I had a team. I had coaches, I had administration people, I had a whole infrastructure that continued to run while I was not available. Now, I don't wish that on anybody, but sometimes things happen in our lives. And if our business revolves around us and we can't operate, then the business stops. So for me, it's an insurance policy to make sure that you are out of the way of the day-to-day running of your business. And if you have a choice, this is what I believe you should be building towards, right? A business that works without you for a couple of reasons. First one is that then you can take time off when you want to, not when you have to, also when you have to. Second reason is the valuation of your business. If you ever choose to sell your business, it's worth more when you are not in the center of the universe than when you are in the center of the universe. And it's a really tough call for some of you because you're good at what you do. But there's an old saying, what got you here won't get you there, which means you can be really good at what you do and that's how you build your business. But if that's what you rely on, you become self-employed. And self-employed means that the risk factor is high. And we need to think about how do we avoid that. So what are we going to talk about today? The topic is how hybrid businesses will dominate. I have no doubt in my mind that the people are smart about what technology has come along in the past 2 years, because anyone who's in tech knows this. In the past 2 years, we've adopted more technology than the past 10 years, right? The uptake of use of technology, the acceptance of use of technology has dramatically shifted. So unless you are integrating this into your business model, what's going to happen is you're going to miss out. You're going to be left behind. And the three areas that we're going to be talking about today is, the first one is we're going to be talking about what's known as the tech. What is the software? What are the applications that exist out there and how can I bring them in? Because a lot of it's just going to be software as a service. A lot of it's going to be automation. A lot of it's going to be different things. But knowing what we call the tech stack is what is the series of software applications that are available to you and how can I utilize them to make my business run more effectively? The second part we're going to talk about is the customer experience. Because it's one thing to implement technology, but it's another thing to make sure that your customers feel loved, okay? You cannot automate relationships, right? You can automate communication, you can automate delivery, but relationships are human to human. And so when we talk about business, we need to make sure that the customer experience is not compromised as a result of you going tech. And the third part of this is really talking about what we call leveraging your marketing and how you can use tech to actually reach more people with less effort and less cost. So we're going to talk about the diversification of marketing and how we can leverage ourselves there. So they're the three elements of today's topics. Now we are on a very tight timeline today, so we're going to be finished by 10. And we're going to have three presenters. They're going to present successfully. And we're also going to integrate some networking because you guys need to meet each other because there's some good people on this call. And if you don't get to talk to them, then we've automated too far. So before we go any further, I'd like to introduce our first presenter. Adam Wilson, you there? Hey.
Yes, I am. Hello.
Fantastic. For those who don't know, Adam is an accountant, but he's an unusual accountant because he's got this jovial personality and he's got a lot of energy around him. But the thing that fascinated me most about Adam is his love for technology and understanding how he calls it the tech stack. And I love that terminology because often people talk about software and that's such an 80s term, right? Here's reality. Technology is a support infrastructure for your business and you already use it. It's just a question of what elements you're using and how you're using them to actually enhance your product delivery, your service delivery. So I've asked Adam if he can share his insight on how we can do this and what is the best technology that we can be using in our business to make sure that we are hybrid and that we can scale. So please welcome Adam to the call and let's give him a nice warm welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for the intro.
Pleasure.
All right, guys. I'm just going to share my my screen and my slides for today. Bring it up. Okay. So essentially, yeah, I'll be discussing the hybrid business model and becoming the ultimate hybrid business owner. So my name's Adam. I'm a successful hybrid business owner and chief bean counter and director at Wilson Accounting. I've personally been through all the stages of running a business through different models, systems, and processes and know what it takes. So my mission has always been how to empower small business owners to succeed through education and practical action. And in turn, I enjoy supporting the community and the economy. Tech is my passion, and that's why I'm here today, and has helped me scale and stand out from the crowd, whilst also engaging with clients on a one-on-one level. And I guess I've been on trend in the accounting industry. So most accountants are old school, but they don't have to be. And running a business can be extremely overwhelming, but it's all about the approach you take, the prior planning, and working with the right people and right providers to make it nice and easy. Now, today I will be giving you some valuable information. I'll be drawing on client experiences, examples, and case studies to make it as practical as possible. So let's jump in. Now, the operational elements of a successful hybrid business are technology, sales, marketing, resources, and financial data. Understanding these 4 key factors will help any business owner, and having the right balance of each of these 4 is unique to each business. Example, sole traders and a smaller business will have different opportunities and challenges when compared with larger organizations with multiple employees. Understanding your business is the first step to mapping out the hybrid business strategy and how you can improve your business model. So understanding your business. So it's about telling me why you got your business started, why you went into business. And essentially, you'll see on the slides now, money, time, lifestyle, succession, and community. Now, the 2 first ones, money and time, are the main answers I get when finding out why business owners went into business. But I want to know, have you achieved this? And ask yourself internally, because when going into business, essentially, if you're trying to make more money, generally you have less money than ever. You have less time than ever, and it impacts your lifestyle. So for these main reasons, business owners, kind of get a little bit down on themselves. Now, myself, I've actually asked myself this question, and I got a different answer to what I thought I would. But I actually, after being involved in the accounting industry, I was sick of the old school paper-based approach that everyone took. And essentially, I wanted to make an impact and help business owners, which then turned me to, I've got a bit of a community base about me. So which everyone's, I guess, reasoning for going out is a little bit different. So the hybrid business owner, what does this entail? The hybrid business owner is open-minded. They embrace technology and always looking to improve their business operations. We've just seen with the pandemic, and Dave mentioned it, the technology is getting taken up at a rapid rate. And if you're not doing it at the moment, you actually are falling behind. And we're seeing a bit of a division between our client base in people that are embracing technology and the ones that aren't. The ones that are embracing are really moving forward at a rapid pace. They have a flexible approach to business. They're creative. They engage from experts for support. They're continuously learning, and they're eager to try new things. This continuously learning is a really good one because, I never had time previously to go to on-site training and it'd take a whole day out of my time. Whereas now I can jump online, I can watch this webinar, as a lot of you are doing now, and continuously invest in myself to become a better business owner. They're aware of trends. They connect with like-minded business owners, and they contribute to the industry or their community. And the last bullet point is technology and financial data. They use technology and financial data to make intelligent decisions that allow them to adapt and innovate in the market. So I'd like to compare this with your typical business owner and what I see, day to day. And I'm just going to, outline some key elements, but they find it hard to adopt to change and trends. They resisted change. Like, we have lots of conversation with them, and they actually push back. So they've got the attitude that if it's not broken, don't fix it. And they're very reactive to the market. And we've just seen, if you're reactive to the market when a pandemic hits, you're really falling behind the 8 ball. There's government grants, there's applications we need to submit. If you haven't moved to zero or tech-based programs that are making your data more timely and accessible, you are essentially missing out on some of these handouts. The reasons we get is, hey, I'm time poor. You might have limited knowledge in this area or technology, and this can create stress and inflexible service offering. and they focus on the business rather than the customer. So really trying to get them to change this mindset. In sales, this actually leads on to, it's harder to actually attract and retain a talented team. They don't look to the team for the answers, not embracing, not getting them involved in the day-to-day process. And they're working in the business, not on it. So essentially these days, and we've found, Dave mentioned it, it's really hard. The talent pool's dried up. Unemployment's as low as it's ever been. So essentially, when you're looking to hire someone to bring someone on the team to assist, because you're busy, etc. If you haven't got an attractive business model that is embracing technology, that looks like that it invests in training, you're not an attractive place to work, and essentially you'll miss out on some of the key talented or top talent that's out there. So the hybrid model takes on a lot of components when done correctly. And there's also slow growth and a lack of motivation. It can be an outcome of this mindset. So there's 4 key areas in the hybrid business model that I just touched on. Technology, sales and marketing, which Anton and Pete will be chatting about next in detail for us. Resources and outsourcing, and financial data. So let's jump into it. So what do we mean by technology? Now, from the pandemic, we've realised that businesses are fast jumping to adopt technology, and we're being forced to. And even from the ATO, to a certain extent, with our compliance and single touch payroll, we need to have our head around it. We're being forced to move in this direction, which is also a good thing, because it's saving us time and money, and some of the physical and manual labour we used to have to do. An example is recently with the technology, we had a cabinet making business that we went to market with and tried to sell. Now, essentially, this business owner was a little bit old school, and he had and there's nothing wrong with that, but he had all the information in his head. So from the client base to the customers, to how they operated, everything was in his head, and essentially he did not have a business that he could sell. So we had to re-engineer the business and I guess put it together and start implementing some of these key technologies and key processes that are going to assist him now in the future to sell his business. So it's important. You have to actually even have the end picture in mind when thinking about your hybrid business model. So let's jump into technology. So technology is the key to a hybrid business model. We're talking about cloud-based business practices, virtual meetings, Zoom, Teams, Google Meet. We're all experiencing now. We're on a Zoom call right now. E-invoicing, that's automatic invoice reminders, using the technology to your advantage. Batch payments for bills. People used to pay bills one by one. You can actually do batch payments and save a heap of time. And bookkeeping. Essentially, the bookkeepers, everyone was like, I have to see my bookkeeper. They had to come to the office. We've just realized the last 18 months, everyone's been working remotely. So where bookkeeping in the past was, we have to be on site, I have to be there for that day. It doesn't have to happen. We can work remotely. It has been more efficient than ever. And with our cloud-based programs, it's a reality that is in everyday business now. Customer relationship management software, so like a CRM. Tradies on the tools, extremely busy. There is CRMs now that are free that you can have an app on your phone. So when you get the call, you get the client's data. You might be too busy to give them a call, but you can schedule it. You're not going to miss it. Whereas previously, they'd have a chat on the phone, they'd put the phone in the pocket onto the next thing, and they'd miss that opportunity for the new client. So implementing a CRM is a good way to show that you've got good practices and you're getting back to the clients and keeping them extremely happy and not missing out on opportunities for sales. Appointment and meeting scheduling. This ties in with the Zoom and their teams. My example I've got here is the appointment and meeting scheduling. It's different for every business. You can go really industry specific, but we recently had a client that used to have on-site meetings every morning in the factory and then go to their premises or go to the work location. Now, we did some numbers around it, and there was 20 minutes a day. I'm not saying wasted, but 20 minutes a day with a catch up. The boys talk a bit of the boy talk and have a bit of a laugh, talk to the office staff, and then they go elsewhere. There was 10 staff, 20 minutes. And when your time's out the time, and then we changed the model and we got the guys to go to site and did a quick Zoom call with either a team of them or one of them if it was singular. It ended up saving them in time about 16 hours a week. Extrapolate that out at their hourly rate, it was about $64,000 for the workflow and meeting scheduling that we implemented. So and it's on top of that, they're going straight to site, they're missing traffic, they're starting on time. There was a heap of positives that came out of implementing that technology. There's automations for workflows, stock and asset management systems depending on your business, financial insight and cash management, and human resources and payroll. So essentially there is a heap of technology that can be implemented, looked at, utilised and reviewed to see if you're operating in the most efficient way. Now, it's good to talk about your tech stack, but what does it actually mean? So I've got it in 4 easy steps. And after today's catch up, we've got some resources for you guys that are online, which is awesome as well. So we'll chat about that later. But 4 easy steps: outline the current programs you use. So get it down on paper. How do they integrate with your business? So we map out how these programs are talking to each other and work within your business. You identify some business challenges because there might be some gaps there that you can plug, and you map out your client's journey. Now, with these 4 steps combined, and to get it down on paper, and we're going to have a really good resource that we're going to hand out to you guys, essentially, you can then start to put together the technology that you need to help operate your business, or review that there might be some gaps we could fill. Identifying your business challenges. I've just got a few on the screen to get the cogs turning. You know, if you're feeling you've got no time, you're stressed, you can't find good people, these are identifying challenges in your business that there is answers, there is solutions. One for me recently was, even in our business, and then talking about the CRM, we're all working remotely. So everyone's having phone calls, emails, having their own dialogues with the clients. But how can I keep track of all that? So we needed one central system where we put all the information into, so we could keep up to date with what all the stuff we're talking about with the clients. The CRM system we implemented, $20,000 later, and that was a full CRM system. But then we realized it didn't do everything we wanted. So essentially, reviewing your tech stack is also important to ensure that you've done all the research and found that it actually does work. So my recommendations: so talk to other business owners. So these guys are more than happy to share their insights, more than happy to go through what they've learned over their journey. And believe me, they want to express it to you. And if this helps you on board, or in my case, put a CRM system in that didn't work, it helps you save time and make sure you get the right product. Talk to your accountants, bookkeepers, and advisors if you've got them. These guys, I see multiple different programs. Some work, some don't. Some are industry specific that are really good, some aren't. So we can give you some really good insight on that as well. Also, there's the app online store. I'll flick this across now and just give you a bit of a live example. If I had a cleaning business, it allows you to click cleaning services. Now, this app online store allows you to search immediately what are the 2 best products. They've done the hard work for you. So this online resource in a Xero app store allows you to quickly and easily navigate their whole platform and all the add-ons and find the right solution for you. And then you can do your further research after that. Make sure the training and implementation is good. And a helpful hit at the end is get your team involved. These guys, if they're involved, implementation becomes easier. They can actually give you really good suggestions and actually assist the smooth running of the onboarding. And in most cases, the business owner is a bit older and the team members are a bit younger and they understand technology better and can actually help you. And you essentially will be turning to them for support. So now it's good to have the whole team involved in the process. All right. So case study, we had a client that had a very paper-based diary, wrote notes, and I still do bits and pieces on paper because we don't want to get rid of that altogether. There is a purpose for it, but essentially they were missing things. The gap was missing appointments, missing callbacks. They were using the diary to flick forward and see what meetings they had. And this is a very basic one, but hey, we checked out on board with Outlook, on board with calendar system. And after that, once he saw the benefits, he's working off an iPad now. And not only that, now implemented an online workflow system. So it was baby steps at the start, but now pushed out to a whole system where it's working from an iPad, and cannot believe didn't take up this sooner after seeing the benefits and missing less things than ever. All right, next quadrant was, what do we mean by resourcing/outsourcing? So resourcing and outsourcing, there is a lot of things in the business. Like the business owner has to wear a lot of hats. And in a hybrid business model, we can't do it all. And leveraging our time is a really big element in being able to relieve ourselves and grow the business, or gets back some time for your family life. Now, I'm just going to run through a quick few bullet points, but the CFO, financial management and reporting and compliance, this can all be automised from your accountant and bookkeepers and your admin support, and sent to you as a business owner, so you just get a nice quick snapshot. There is sales and marketing, which Anton and Peter are going to chat about in a moment in depth. Facility and equipment maintenance, HR and payroll and employment contracts and dismissal procedures. I'll drop this one in there. At the moment, going through the pandemic, there is industries that can't employ people. There is vax and anti-vax people. How do we deal with it? This is not the business owner's area of expertise. They're good at what they do, but essentially you're exposing yourself if you're getting involved in these areas. So the smart hybrid business owner is outsourcing this. It's looking to professionals and advisors. Coaching, training and development, customer service and sales and admin. So automising these, leveraging of professionals in the area can also alleviate your time and make sure the job's done right and really accurately. So how do you review your resources? How do we find out where the time's getting leaked or if you're doing too much? 4 easy steps. Again, we've tried to make it bite-sized and easy for the listeners. All right. So basically, we list all our weekly tasks, and the resources also we're going to provide to you have a nice template for us. But list all weekly tasks, get it out of your head, get it on paper, see what you're actually doing. How much time do you spend on each task? So once you've listed your tasks, put some time around it on a weekly basis, just so we can annualize it and then see how we can get back your valuable time to be spent on other areas. Rate the task on importance, whether it's an admin task and generating no wealth at all for the business, or whether it's sales and you're working on the business and an important task where you can generate income for the business. And then you review the results. So essentially, once you review the results, this is where the magic happens. This is where you can essentially start to plug the gaps where you shouldn't be doing so much work. The case study that we've got is there was a PA. So essentially, we sat down, we went through that list. Out of 46 items, our client shouldn't have been doing 40 of them, or could have delegated or outsourced 40 of those items. So essentially, we put the time around it, got a PA, which was, I'd say, permanent part-time, 3 days a week, which has turned into a full-time role because they've been able to alleviate so much time and tasks to the PA to run with. So the last one is financial. So what do I mean by financial data? And this is me being an accountant. I get excited about financial data, but business owners are not accountants. And business owners, essentially, or the hybrid business owner, sometimes they don't understand the reports. I'd say 80 to 70% of the client base are not actively involved in being able to fluently read reports and get all the data and information. So we're reaching out to the business owner and saying, hey, you've got to go to your accountants, bookkeepers, and advisors. And essentially, you need to start having the conversation with them so you're getting sent valuable information like monthly profit and loss so you can review it. And also get your accountant to review it first and send you information on it to look at the key elements or key performance indicators in your business that you need to act on. So then the hybrid business owner is honing in on that space and be able to move forward in a productive manner. There's budgeting and cash flow. A lot of people aren't doing this and utilizing it. There's programs that can help you do that digitally as well. And then make sure that you're meeting your targets as your business owner. There's benchmarking programs where we can look at your numbers and compare them with other businesses in like industries and like sizes. This data is crucial in making your business decisions in which direction you move in. Business loans, repayments, putting a strategy around that, how to repay debt, all these statutory requirements with the ATO, tax compliance. This stuff can actually be streamlined. So you're not having to worry about deadlines and whatnot. You can streamline a lot of this work so you're saving time and not being so stressed out about the back end information. So what do hybrid business owners do with this accounting data? So you should, at a minimum, be getting your monthly profit and losses or quarterly profit and losses and reviewing them with your advisors or your accountants or the key people in your network. Once you're doing this, you should be looking at planning for the future, seeking advice from these guys, leaning and leveraging off them, getting the expert opinions, excuse me, so you can implement and improve the business where you need to. outsource and hire. If you haven't got time or if you haven't got the resources, hire the staff members or outsource it to professional bodies. Training and upskilling your staff. They can now do it in their own time, smoothly and easily. Problem solve. If there is any problems, implement the solutions. You can motivate the team and you can proactive and anticipate any movements. So helpful hint, get involved with your accountant or business advisors. Reach out to them, get them involved in all the insights and that of your business. We're currently doing, business owners they don't want to drive, have a meeting, drive back home. It's a 3-hour turnaround. So essentially, what your accountants can be doing for you and what your advisors can be doing for you is reviewing your numbers, filming it like this, and actually sending you a link so you can look at it later on. You can save time on the travel. You can have a Zoom meeting like this where we can talk live and discuss the numbers with you. You're getting such timely information to make really good decisions on your business. Also, from that information, that data, we can suggest how to then implement technology in the business. So there's a bit of a support package we put together for the listeners after today's seminar. The tech stack review, the review my resources to get back time. We've got a sample report for monthly and quarterly reports to see what's out there for you guys, so you can get the juices flowing and go, oh, these reports are really good. This is really good information. I want to see how to get my hands on this. And if anyone does do this, we're happy to have a look at your hybrid business model and just review it and see if there's any holes or any gaps where we can advise and give you some intel on what you should be doing. So thank you for your time, everyone.
Awesome.
Hopefully you've enjoyed today and got a lot out of it. If you need, we're here to help. So if you need to get in touch, here's our details, and hopefully everyone has enjoyed.
Refreshing. Thank you very much, Adam. Let's give him a nice round of applause. A lot in there, but a couple of takeaways, especially, for me, we use tech a lot, and people say, gee, David, you use a lot of tech in your business, because I come from a tech background. But what I've learned is this: if you use the right tech, it saves you time. And things like automated calendar appointments, Calendarly, is something that a lot of people haven't realized can save them a lot of, telephone tennis, email tennis. Any little tech that can help you streamline your communications and improve your contact time is better. What we're going to do now is, anyone who's interested, Adam is obviously keen to help, so you can jump on board with him. The other thing you can do is, if you would like a copy of his slides, because I know there was a lot of data there, just type in slides into the chat box and that'll sort of alert Adam to send you a copy. There were some good links in there. I think that idea of using the Xero portal to find the add-ons is useful. So anyone who would like those slides, just type into the chat box slides and we'll make sure that they come out to you. What we're going to do now is we're going to put you into some small groups to do some networking. This is the point where you get to talk to some other people in business who have been sitting in their homes isolated for many, many years now, about what's going on for them, and I suppose what they've learned out of that. So we're going to put you into groups of 5. Joe's organising that right now, and in those groups you have 2 tasks. One is to introduce yourself, and the second one is to talk about one thing that resonated with you out of Adam's presentation. So who it is you are, what you do, and what did you get out of the last presentation. 5 people, we're going to give 5 minutes, so that means about a minute a person. There's not going to be someone in that room to manage that time, so it's going to be up to you. We'll give you a sort of indication halfway through so that you know. But let's get everyone into these breakout groups. So the way we're going to do this is pretty straightforward. We're going to take a deep breath. At the count of 3, we're going to put you into those rooms for 5 minutes, and then we're going to get you back out here. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, and all right, then we're back. Hopefully you met some people. Did you meet some new people? Thumbs up if you did. Awesome. Did you make some connections? Thumbs up if you did. That's good to see you. Funnily enough, people said we need more of this networking, because we're sitting here and just listening like stunned mullets during these presentations. And the real element of, like, the thing that's been missing for most people during the lockdown is socialization. It's actually meeting people unexpectedly. It's actually finding fresh conversations to have, not just speaking to my family and my friends all the time, but other people, because you don't get that when you're in isolation, because you have to find someone. So we found it was quite a valuable thing to just do that little bit of networking. Before we move on to our next presentation, in our room, I was lucky enough to have Betty, who's a young solicitor who's really just starting out. And a question came up, and I just want to throw it across to everybody. And we talk about business and we talk about growth. And one of the questions I often ask people is, do you have a picture of the end product? What will my business look like when it's finished? If you haven't answered that question in its entirety, not the 5-year vision, the finished product vision, you need to be thinking about this, because I cannot go to a builder and say, build me a house without explaining how many floors I want in my building. But I can start a business without having any idea of what the finished product will look like. And I think for most people, one of the flaws in their business model is they haven't got an exit strategy. They haven't got a finished product in their mind. They're just thinking of it as a job. I just want to get more clients. I just want to make more money. I get that. But there's an end point. And if you don't calculate what you want that end point to look like, it'll make its own decision. And you have the choice in your own business to do that. So without further ado, we're going to keep going down this whole idea of this hybrid business solution. Our next presenter is someone who some of you know quite well, Peter Burgess. He is, I would consider him a propeller head. I don't take that as a negative. I used to be one and I still am one. He's a tech person and he loves his tech. He is involved in CRMs and sales process. And I interpret that to be the customer experience. And making sure that when you bring people into your funnel, when people get an introduction into your business, they don't get left behind. They don't get sort of dropped between the cracks. So he's going to be talking about why you need to automate your sales process for success in 2022. I'd like to welcome Pete to the call. He knows how I introduce him. I did call you a propeller head, Pete. So,
that's okay.
Really, so over to Pete. He's going to be talking about sales process automation and how to maintain that customer experience. So awesome. Let's get the ball rolling. Over to you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, everyone. I'll just do a screen share. And now that I'm back in the real world, let me do that. Just a moment. So this presentation is around how to automate your sales processes for success in 2022. So I'll just minimize one thing here so I can see what I'm doing. So the agenda for today's talk, it's about, firstly, we're talking about what business do you actually want to run, 5 intersecting themes, process, technology, and the hybrid business, implementing the hybrid business, which is, as a tech person, propeller head, that's what I really enjoy, the tools and technology, and then an example of automating your onboarding. And then I talk about my own process, or the process for within process culture, how we run projects. So this is something, and there's a lot of content in some of these slides, by the way. So you can ask for a copy of the slides in the chat, and I'll send them through. I'm not going to go through bullet by bullet, which is going to would be a bit dull. So just the main themes here. So during COVID and the last 18 months, a lot of us have had a chance to really reevaluate what work means to us and what's important in life. And so for myself, it's more family time, more time for self-care, taking care of yourself, not actually spending 3 hours driving in traffic to see a client. And the big question, what really matters in life? So building a business around the life that you want. So start with those goals in mind about what you want your life to look like. And there's a lot of lessons that we've learned during 2022, and we can take that into designing a better business for better business overall. So reevaluating what work looks like. The Great Resignation is one of those themes, which is apparently I think it's 30 or 40% of business of employees are considering changing their work this year. So, and I think that's in the States. So a lot of people will be reevaluating what they want to do for work. And there are bigger themes like climate change, and which very important, our impact on the environment. How does commuting and living and working in the ways we have in the past contribute to the problems that the planet has? And what will work look like for our children? Will our children be spending 2 hours going, driving in a car in each direction to go to work on the 40th floor of a skyscraper? Is that what they want? Or is that what we want for them? So we're entering a period of consequences, and also a great period of opportunity. So 5 intersecting themes, just to reiterate in a way. Rethinking work, The Great Fragmentation by Steve Sammartino, as a book I read some years back. Actually went to one of his presentations. And the future of business is small. A lot of businesses can collaborate, small businesses can actually collaborate to achieve great results that and threaten the idea of the larger businesses dominating. It's actually small businesses in the long term that can produce the best results. We'll think about work-life balance, health and well-being. That's therefore at the forefront. So, and environment and sustainability, as I've touched on, living locally and working internationally. This is a huge one for me, and that's the hybrid business model allows us to think about living within our locality, in our area, only having to go a few kilometers to a co-working space or a cafe, or working with local businesses, but also working internationally. You could actually have customers on the other side of the planet, or collaborators or freelancers or people working with you. Cloud technology has made that all possible. As Adam said previously, tools like Xero allow us to collaborate with our accountants and bookkeepers without actually having to meet them. Saves a huge amount of time. And then the biggest one for me personally, the insights that we have into what productivity means. Moving towards a 4-day week. The rule of 4 for me is like 4 hours of high productivity in a day is enough. You can achieve those goals, then you can spend more time on rest and recovery and improving the quality of your life. So process technology in the hybrid business, what does this actually look like? So the best hybrid businesses seek to find a balance between the virtual world and the real world. So it's not just about like working from home all the time, not seeing anyone, being in your little box. It's about deciding when you want to go out of that box or out of your home to meet people face to face, and when does it make sense to to work online. Now, what does this look like in practice when we're focusing specifically on sales, which is the area that I work in? So implementing the hybrid business, as I say, there are lots of bullet points here, so we won't go through every single one. But optimize business processes with a focus on automating the manual and repetitive tasks in your business. Using cloud-based services, so you get much more bang for your buck these days. You don't have to get a programmer to build everything from scratch. Having one source of truth in your business, a central database, again, that's the CRM, a central cloud-based repository of customer information, really important, and something you can take with you on the road. So you've got a mobile app, you've always got access to customer information. I use Pipedrive, and you'll hear me mentioning Pipedrive quite a bit. And the great thing about Pipedrive is that there's a really good app here. I can scan photographs of my notes, or I can take notes directly. I can take audio clips, upload video clip, whatever it is. Any type of information about a meeting I've just had, you can easily just upload it via your mobile phone. You've also got access to all the information about your deals and your customers and etc. leads that you have coming in via your mobile phone. One of the most important things, and this is really a key theme to this entire presentation, is around client experience and for me also team experience. Now there's that question, who comes first, the client or the team? In my opinion, if you don't have a happy team, you don't have happy clients. So we focus on creating that environment within a business that is really optimal for people. They're doing their best work. We're removing a lot of the complexity, and the communication internally within the organization is really good. So everyone knows what's happening all the time. We've got good dashboards and reports, we've got automations, we've got updates, so people are aware of what's happening in the business. And also for customers, they've got a consistent experience, and the communication is really, really good. And we've automated that whole process. So consistent customer experience, an example of that would be automated onboarding. So I promote Practice Ignition as a great tool for onboarding. Once you've kind of at the point where a customer's agreed to proceed, you can then seamlessly onboard that customer into your business without too much work. Marketing automation, the customers are receiving branded, consistent communication from your business. You're building credibility. They can see that you know what you're doing. Sales workflow automation as well, automated follow-ups, after a quote's gone out, after a period of time, welcome emails as soon as someone's agreed to join the business, become a customer. And then things like scorecards and landing pages give that just professional, consistent experience for a customer or for a new, a prospect that's coming in to have a look at some of your products and services. So seamless communication and feedback, really, really important. Enabling a culture of client preeminence. I love the idea from Jay Abraham of the strategy of preeminence, which is all about putting your client at the top and focusing, making sure that your client's needs are foremost in your thinking. And continuous improvement. How can we get better? How can we improve our systems? And then finally, one of the key aspects is making great decisions. A lot of decisions are made without the right information. So we've got information in multiple silos all over the place in different spreadsheets and in people's heads. So in an ideal business, an ideal hybrid business, we're looking at real-time access to real-time data. We've got all of our information in one place about customers in a CRM, creating custom dashboards and reports. And most importantly, we're actually building blended data sources for multiple. Not only have we got customer information and information about sales, we've got the financial information from, for example, from your cloud-based accounting, Xero, and information from other sources, and pull that all together to create really rich and powerful reports in your business. So how do we do this for sales and marketing? Well, there are 5 key aspects. I always start with a visual process design with BPMN. BPMN is business process modeling notation, and I'll show a few of those, a few examples in a minute. So we actually map out the business process as it exists and create a common understanding, and then we start this discussion about how can we improve and how can we make the business more automatic. One source of truth, really, you do need a CRM. And even if you're a very small business and just started, it's a great time to get started with a CRM. The larger the business, the more time it will take you to migrate data from spreadsheets into a CRM. So if you're just starting, it's a really good time to get those disciplines in place. Integrated systems. So we've got some fantastic tools now. I mean, really wonderful tools like Zapier, Integromat, Automate.io that actually allow you to integrate different systems. So if you've got Xero, you've got your CRM, you've got your marketing automation solution, you've got Gmail, you've got Outlook. You can bring them all together so that everything talks to each other and it's all connected. Sales workflow automation and marketing automation are 2 different things, but we can automate key steps in our sales process. Welcome emails, onboarding emails, following up and communicating with our team, and marketing automation, which is all around building awareness, nurturing, and making sure you're top of mind, and making sure that when the customer is in the right place to potentially buy, they think of you. And then finally, sales dashboards and reports, having that information at your fingertips. So here is, and look, I geek out on this stuff. Some people, when they see, this is a very simple BPMN diagram, can get a bit overwhelmed. Quite often I work with diagrams with 50 boxes, so 50 activity boxes. This particular example here, a very simple one for automated scheduling. So we've got prospect is selecting a date and then filling in the contact details and possibly making a payment. So we map out this process in BPMN so that everyone can then start having a discussion. What does this look like? What's the next step? What should we do instead? And I start my process by interviewing key staff, creating this map, and then we talk about how to go from this position to an optimized automated business. And again, this is another example here. Contact made. Are they in the CRM? No. Yes, they are in the CRM. Do we update them? That process we just step through step by step, and then from this diagram, you can then create standard operating procedures which my clients can use for training staff. It's really nice to have a visual. Why do we automate? So the pitfalls of manual work, the lack of consistency, no standardization, there's a lot of labor intensive steps. A lot of businesses are using spreadsheets. They've got their standard process, which are lots of forms to fill in. I always say if you can get your customers to do the hard yards when it comes to filling in information. It doesn't create an excessive burden. It just means there's a point at the start. We get the customer to fill in their information form, 20 fields full of their information, submit it. And then right through the process, you've got that information, you're storing it in the CRM, but you're not having to re-enter it, not having to have someone pass it from one person to another to manually handle it. So we're just reducing manual work. As I said before, there's a consistent, repeatable customer experience, which really boosts the impression they have of your business. And here's some examples for sales process automations, things that can be automated. There are a couple of these that are my favorites. Probably the first one that I started using was Contacts Plus and Pipedrive. So when you go to a networking event and you've been given a business card, a lot of people would put those business cards in a drawer and never do much with them. Most important tip when you've gone to networking is make a connection to that person or invite them to connect on LinkedIn within the first day. And I use Contacts Plus and Pipedrive. You just scan your business card, it goes straight into the CRM. So just take your phone, scan the business card straight into the CRM, and then you create a follow-up activity in the CRM, so automatically reminding you to contact them or to connect with them on LinkedIn. Automating communication. So for example, during onboarding, booking of discovery calls, booking of meeting reminders, all that's automated. So when someone's decided to book with you to have a chat, all the follow-ups to make sure they're on time, and all the communication is all automated. Automating follow-ups, as I say, for salesperson reminders. So if a salesperson is meant to call you, they will actually be sent an email on the Monday with a list of all their contacts that they have to follow up with. And automated reports is a great one. So every day, every week, or every month, you can have reports straight in your inbox or via SMS. These are the three categories I focus on. There are other categories of automation, so communication, onboarding, and reports. And there's a little case study here about onboarding in a moment. So automating clients onboarding. Now I've added Practice Ignition into the mix in the last couple of months, really, because I've been using it quite extensively myself. And I promote Practice Ignition with my clients. But there are two ways two approaches. One is the approach here with Pipedrive and integrations. So, you've got a new client within the CRM, you just drag that deal onto the won state. So that client's won. The deal has been won. Just that process then triggers off a welcome email from within the CRM, which is then sent with an attached welcome pack, which is just sent straight out to the customer to say, welcome to our business, and giving them some onboarding information. One recommendation is to add some links to Google Drive, to some, a folder where you've got some standard onboarding documentation for that customer. So all that's happened, the salesperson has just dragged that deal into one, and now the customer's automatically received an email. They've automatically received perhaps a link to Google Drive with the documentation. It's all done behind the scenes. And then you could set up a client portal account. That can be done automatically as well. A new client can be created in your Xero account. So you've got that brand new customer. You're also starting the financial administration onboarding. And then we can automatically send out an invoice for the deposit to the client, and then also a link for them to book their first workshop with you. So remember, all of this that you're seeing, those steps 1 or 2 to 6, all of them are triggered because the salesperson just dragged that deal to one on the pipeline. Now, an alternative to these steps is to use a tool like Practice Ignition. And in that, with Practice Ignition, we can set up the terms and conditions and the options, and pretty well just send them an email with the ability to select an option, confirm the terms and conditions, and make a payment via credit card. And they will also receive an invoice via Xero and all the other steps that we have above. The difference is obviously, there's a fee for Practice Ignition, and also there's a different experience overall. You've got it's pretty customizable. You've got even more customizable experience with the first steps 1 through to 6. So it's a matter of choice, really. I use Practice Ignition, just makes it just so much easier in general. And one of the great things about Practice Ignition is it integrates with Pipedrive, with Google Drive, and Zapier, for example. So you can create some pretty cool automations. So here's an example. This is an example. I've been actually working with a client. They're not called ABC Company, but it's a similar flow with this client. So they receive a proposal. You select an option, sign the terms and conditions, pay via credit card. And that moment of paying via the credit card then leads to a new contact being raised in Xero, an invoice being raised, and then the invoice being sent to the customer. And it's, of course, they've already made the payment. So it's, it's just an invoice with the payment reconciled, saying, balance owing is 0. If they, in Practice Ignition, they can also, accept to pay the invoice later. So it's a very, and all of this is out of the box. It's pretty cool. So these are some of the tools I use. I'm a big advocate of Zapier. Zapier is really the glue that allows you to connect all these tools together. So from a marketing automation point of view, the number one tool I use is Convertkit. Convertkit's more of an email marketing solution, but it's extremely powerful from an automation point of view. And you can create some incredibly powerful automations and workflows within the tool. We can very much personalize our communication from a marketing point of view. The CRM I use is Pipedrive. Look, over the years, I've used a lot of different CRMs, and Pipedrive is the CRM that I really I've locked into, and I love using Pipedrive. Very, very reliable, consistent. The usability is excellent, and also the clients I work with. A lot of the clients in the mid-range, mid-market agencies and such like, they use Pipedrive. It does have a lot of traction in the marketplace, and connects extremely well. So it's a lot of custom integrations within Pipedrive, but also connects well with Zapier and other tools. Appointment scheduling, I do support Calendly, but OneHub is even more powerful. So, for those complex scenarios where you've got multiple people, multiple team members whose calendars we need to synchronize with, plus room bookings, OneHub is really excellent for that, but also excellent for very simple scenarios, and paid bookings can also be supported. And then document generation, one of the tools I use is PandaDoc, so we can generate proposals and documents straight from within the CRM and send them out to customers and track the progress. And there's electronic signing, for example, as well. So here's a quick screenshot from Pipedrive. So Pipedrive workflow automations. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Out of the box in Pipedrive, you can automate a lot of things. So, for example, every time a new person is added into the CRM, you can send an email to a member of staff or to that person. Every time a deal is moved to a certain state, we can send an email, or we can send different communications. An email to a member of staff. We can send Slack messages between team members when things happen. So you don't want to bombard your team with messages, but it's important to decide what messages people need to see and then create workflow automations around them. So I think most people in a sales team would want to know when deals have been won. So when a deal has been won, they'll receive a Slack notification and maybe a text message and an email. Maybe not all three at the same time, but they're very useful. It's very useful to let people know what's happening in the business. And here's some of my personal automations since this screenshot was taken. I've added about another 20, but things like my daily agenda, which arrives in my, via text message. If you wake up in the morning and you wake up at 6:30 or 7 or whatever it is, and you check just to have that message that comes in and tells me what I have to do. In the past, one of the issues I would have, and I'm sure a lot of people have as well, is if you've got an 8:30 meeting or an 8 o'clock meeting, if you haven't checked your calendar the day before, there's always the risk that you could miss it. So I have that text message that comes in at 7 o'clock.
So Pete, so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about. I want you to do me a favor.
I've got 3 minutes.
You've got to summarize. You've got to wrap up here.
No problem at all. Okay, I'll just accelerate onto the other slides here. Now, this is basically the crux of it. So our 4-step technology blueprint takes you through that process where we start with a discovery call. I go through to road mapping, where we map out your objectives and what a project could look like if you want to implement automations in your business or want to roll out a CRM. And then we will plan out the implementation. And I assure you the delivery of the implementation, either myself personally or via a partner. And here's, it's a collaborative process. So we plan for implementation and rollout of CRM, we map your business processes and provide the oversight and assurance. And that's pretty well it. The main theme to the whole presentation really is around client experience and team experience. We want to use automation and a CRM, a single point of truth, to really optimize the experience that clients and also your team have of your business.
Fantastic. So Pete, in summary, I suppose you covered a lot of content here. You've talked about a lot of concepts, and there's certainly some gold. Once again, if anyone would like to see a copy of Pete's slides, just type slides into the chat box right now and we can make sure that he gets them out to you. I've known Pete for quite a while, and when it comes to automation, you can see that he could talk for hours on automation. It's the sort of thing that gets him excited. He stays up all night talking about this stuff. That's who I want on my team when it comes to CRM automation. I need someone who's enthusiastic, because the trick here is simple. get the technology to marry with your client experience and make sure that you do not drop the ball with clients. If anything, it actually enhances that experience. And that's part of the hybrid model that Pete's talking about here. So someone said they've done the mapping session with Pete, very useful. It does look overwhelming when you see it on a screen, but I know when you go through a mapping process, it identifies exactly what the experience needs to be at each point in time. So please, if you'd like to reach out to Pete, he's got his contact details on the screen. If you just want to see his slides, just put slides into the chat box. I'd like to shift to our next presenter, because even though we put our next presenter as last, it's definitely not least. When it comes to this idea of hybrid, there's no area that's probably been more impacted than marketing. You know, for a lot of people, who's part of a networking group on this call? Can I just get a show of hands for those people part of a networking group? So typically more than half of the people we see in any presentation network. And I think what's happened is this last 2 years has made networking extremely challenging, extremely difficult. I think marketing has been one of those areas that the opportunity to scale, the opportunity to leverage has been huge, because people have been sitting in front of their screen more than ever. And if you haven't adapted your marketing to the new world of people staring at their screen probably 50% more per day, you're probably missing out on some eyeballs. So I wanted Anton Goodman to join us today, and he's going to be talking about how you bulletproof your business for 2022, regardless of what the outcomes of any of these lockdowns might be. So let's give Anton a nice warm welcome and let's get him on the call.
Thanks, David. So today I'm going to talk about how to bulletproof your business for whatever 22 brings. It's obviously been a pretty tumultuous 18 to 24 months for everyone, let alone small business. And so how do we act coming out of all these lockdowns and hopefully towards the latter part of a worldwide pandemic, and what we can also learn from it. So a little bit about me. I started Dynamite Digital in 2014. We're based in Melbourne, currently in Brunswick, and we're a full service digital marketing agency. We try and differentiate ourselves a little bit by not having any lock-in 12-month contracts. We don't take commissions. All our prices are set costs, and our monthly reporting is really in those layman terms so that it's easy for everyone to understand. There's no point getting a report where you have hundreds of pieces of data and no idea how to interpret it. So why do we have marketing? Most of our clients come to us because they want to be seen, they want to get more clients or new clients, they want to grow their business, and they want to stand out from the crowd. But for us, where the real value is knowing your acquisition costs. So that means you know how much it costs to get one sale or to get one new client, and meaning that you're then able to scale down the track. Brand identity and loyalty, it means that your brand becomes synonymous with trust, with positive feelings, so that down the track, when someone does need a service, you're the first point of something that comes to mind as a provider. And so when you know your acquisition costs, it allows you to forecast your revenue. If I know that a new client is costing me $100, I know that if I spend $1,000, I'm getting 10 new clients. So being able to forecast revenue, not only does it give you some security with your income and the business's profit and allowing you to scale, it can also increase profitability. Once you know what's coming in, you can scale it and be confident that if I'm putting in $2,000 next month, I'm getting 20 new clients or 20 new customers or 20 sales. And ultimately that increases your business value, because at the end of the day, we're all in our businesses because we want to be, or I like to think we are, but you don't know where that's going to be down the track. And like David said earlier this morning, if it comes to selling your business, word of mouth means nothing. That's not something that's tangible that you can sell. If you can say, I'm investing $5,000 in marketing a month and I'm getting 50 new sales or 50 new clients a month, that increases the price of your business. So today I'm going to talk about bulletproofing. 5 quick points for today. Old school still has its benefits. Testing and measuring, then following the best return on investment. It's not about online or offline anymore. It's about combining the two. There's always something you can do, whether you're short on time or short on cash. And at the end of the day, diversifying and how that protects you and bulletproofs your business. So old school marketing. A lot of these things are looked at as sort of a thing of the past. Using these strategies has always been really considered old school, and a lot of businesses have moved away from it. And I see that as throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Some of these, even as a digital marketing agency, some of these we recommend these to a lot of our clients, because it really depends on which industry you're in, what your market is, and what your target audience is. But it's not about you're just moving towards digital online, despite everyone being at home. If everyone's at home, letterbox drops, you're getting you're going to make contact with them, phone calls, because over the last 18 months no one has left the house. Door knocking, probably not as appropriate depending on where we are in lockdowns, but these things still have huge impact and have a positive return on investment. Test and measure. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about were two digital marketing strategies that we use with a lot of our clients. They're two of the more popular ones. I'm sure that some of you are using either or both, or you at least would have heard of them. The first one is Google Ads. So it's really simple. When you search on something on Google, the first 3 results will be a paid ad space. The benefit of this is that the searcher is already searching for your service or your product. So they're a warm lead. They're actually looking for you. Now, you only actually pay once they click on the ad. So if those ads are only showing up for keywords that we want to show up for, and then there's a bunch of ad text, we're qualifying them twice before we even pay anything for them to visit our website. So if we can qualify them well enough, when they come to the website, they're more likely to turn into a sale or whatever your conversion is, whether that's an inquiry or a phone call. We're maximizing it, and you're only paying once they click through to the ad. So this is what it looks like. If you were to search up Locksmith Moorabbin, you can see there that it's got the little green ad logo next to it. They're the results at the top. So they're still relevant, but they're paid spots. And if you're not there, if you're not showing up, then these searchers, these potential customers, clients are just going straight to your competitor, because they know that they want what they're searching for, and it's either you or someone else in your industry. They're going to make a purchase. So exactly how I said how we do it. The ads only show up for keywords that we decide are relevant. And then we have really clear ad text that's relevant to what they're searching. And then that we control the bidding on how much we want to spend. So if you can't spend more than $25 to get a new sale or a client, there's no point in us spending $30 per click. So we can also control our bidding and ensure that there's a positive return on investment. So this is what it can look like. So again, this is for a locksmith. You got the service down the left-hand side, and it's got how much on average what they're spending with the locksmith as well. So you can see the cost per acquisition in the right-hand column, and that, for $56, they're getting on average an $1,800 sale for emergency calls. Or if you're looking at residential, they're paying $86 and getting $2,500 a sale. So they can actually calculate and be confident that for every $86 we spend next month, we're going to get $2,500 of sales back. And that's the importance of data that you're collecting, so that it gives you confidence moving forward. The next one I want to talk about is SEO. So it's similar in that when you search something on a search engine, say Google, they're already looking for what they're searching. So they're either going to go to you or your competitor once again. These are warm to hot leads. They're not cold leads. SEO, search engine optimization, it ensures that you appear higher in the search results. And those positions are directly below the ads. So that's organic. So when someone clicks on your website there, it's not costing you anything. But what you're doing is getting your website higher and higher ranking, so that eventually you're on the first page of Google and you're more likely to get more visits for people that are searching for your product. And a big question that people say to us, or more of a statement, is, oh, I know that I skip the ads at the top. Well, this is the perfect solution for targeting the audiences that are the same as you and skipping those ads. Again, if they're skipping the ads, it's not costing you anything if you're running those ads, because you only pay if they click. But if they're automatically skipping those ads, you want to be at the top of the organic results. And this is where SEO will place you. How we do it, we ensure that everything on the website is relevant, that we're using the right keywords, that the website runs really smoothly. And then we're going to direct a lot of traffic towards that website through link building, blogs, directories, being featured in articles, etc. Excuse me. And the third one is social media marketing. I'm not going to touch on it too much today, because as you can see, there's so many different options. But the idea with all of this is finding the positive return on investment, and not just finding which ones are profitable, but which ones are the most profitable. Because when someone comes to us and we say, what's your budget? And they say, I don't know. I say, great, you got an unlimited budget. We can invest in all these services because they're all going to profit. But at the end of the day, you've got a limited amount that you can spend each month until your business keeps scaling up and growing. So you want to be putting your money into something that's going to give you 10 times your investment on return, even though there's another option that has 5 times your investment on return. Sure, the one that's 10 times is going to peter out at a certain investment amount. And that's when you'd start looking at another option, which returns not as much, but is still a profitable return. So online or offline, this is a great example of some of our plans as a business for next year. We're a digital marketing agency, and half of the strategies we're using are are offline. Obviously, we're going to take advantage and make the most of the services that we provide and run them for ourselves. But using things like letterbox drops to businesses, sending out service packs, calling, networking groups, guest speaking right now, and obviously word of mouth can build your business. And then we're investing in the digital side as well. So for 2022, we really see it as that hybrid solution, that synergy of bringing together both the offline strategies, which are still really, really tried and tested and still worked today, and then investing in digital, which is where a massively growing space, especially with people being online more than ever. A quick little look, I've put together this tool, which is lead generation, and depending on what you want, if it's an awareness campaign, or if you're looking to get new business, if you want to use an existing audience, or you want to bring new people to come and see your business, it's a little PDF I've put together. If you'd like a copy of that, just write strategy in the comments, and I can email that to you straight after this talk. So what can you do now? I like to think that everyone in business is either you're either short on cash that you can invest, or you're short on time. If you're really busy right now and you're not making money, business coach David, I'll throw you over to David, and he can show you where the gaps are. But if you're time poor, that's when you're going to take that money and you're going to invest it. Marketing isn't an expense when you know what it's going to get back. So you're going to trial it, you're going to test it, you're going to measure it, and then you're going to know exactly how much a new acquisition is costing with each of the strategies that you're running. So it becomes an investment, knowing that you're going to get X amount back from investing Y. So what can you do now? If you've got the money, you can invest in those marketing strategies like digital marketing, your Google ads, your SEO, your social media marketing. If you don't have the funds for that and you're rich in time, that's when things like networking, door knocking, cold calling, those things still play a role. Almost every business that starts up starts with those things because they don't cost a lot of money. And when someone sets up a new business, they don't necessarily have hundreds of thousands of dollars to throw into it straight away. And the message from all of this is diversify. What we've seen with the pandemic is if your business was relying entirely on door knocking, and then all of a sudden lockdowns come and you can't door knock, then you had no avenue of bringing in new business. A lot of our clients, we've set them up with 10 different strategies, a minimum 10 strategies, so that when everything shifted in how we were living, 4 or 5 of those strategies got knocked out and couldn't be used whatsoever. But they still had 4 or 5 positive return on investment strategies that could still run throughout lockdown. And that was really important. If they couldn't function as a business because of lockdown, we were building up their database, getting people to subscribe to their newsletters so that once we came out of lockdown, their business could be running twice as much as they had ever run before. So there's always something to invest in. There's always work you can be doing, even if it's going to, if you're, say, a trader and you're going to jobs, taking photos, taking a little video of the before and afters, because that can be used when you've got money 12 months from now for social media. Then you've got the content already, and you can invest it when you're ready to go. You don't have to wait another 6 months because you have to gather that content. It's sitting there ready for the future. So hopefully that explains a little bit about bulletproofing your business for 2022. Again, don't rule out the old school methods. They're tried and tested, and a lot of them still work. Even though we're a digital marketing agency, I can definitely recommend some of those methods that are more tactile. Test, measure, and then follow the best return on investment. Marketing is all data driven. So the sooner you know what you're making per investment and which one's working best, that's when you're going to maximize your profits. It's not online or offline. Combine the two. That's the hybrid 2022 that we're looking at. And that's where businesses are going to thrive, when they're combining what we've learned as well as what we know works from before the pandemic. And there's always something you can do. So it doesn't mean that you need to invest in your end goal right now, but you can be building towards it so that when you're ready to hit go, everything's there. And diversifying, making sure that you've always got those avenues, because with the way the last 2 years has been, with the bushfires seem 10 years ago, but bushfires were the beginning of last year, and then we've gone through a worldwide pandemic. I wouldn't be that surprised if aliens landed on the planet tomorrow, or the internet broke down and all of a sudden there's no internet marketing. Things like that, like crazier things have happened, and the internet breaking down. So make sure you've got that diversity. You've got multiple avenues for bringing lead generation to your business. And that way you're going to kick goals in 2022, knowing that your business is bulletproof. And from there, you'll know where the real value is. You're then going to know your acquisition costs. You're going to be able to forecast into the future. You're going to be able to increase your profitability, increase the money you're making, and ultimately increasing the value of your business, because that's where the real strength lies. So 2022, year of the hybrid business. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's give Anton a nice round of applause. So much information. And you know what I love most about Anton's presentation? He actually went the opposite way and said hybrid means keeping the analog stuff. And, you know, one of the secrets to successful marketing is when everyone else zigs, you should zag. And I think having testing and measuring in place, because it's not about whether you should go online or not. It's about whether you're getting good return on your marketing investment or not. And that's a measurement. So I think the mathematics behind that is critical. If anyone would like to reach out to Anton, obviously, if you want to get his slides, you can put slides into the chat box right now for Anton's stuff. These guys are all very accessible, and I'm going to suggest, because I am mindful of time, and we are going to finish on time today. So if there's any questions, into the chat box right now. If there's no questions, what I would like you to do is, before we leave today, I want you to list what are the top 3 things that you got out of today's session. In your notes, what are the top 3 action items? What are the top 3 things that you picked up out of today? Because I don't like running a presentation like this without having some action items out the other end. So what are the key elements? What are the things that resonated with you most? What are you most excited about? What are the things you must do as a result of what you've heard this morning? Let's not leave the scene of this presentation without some action items. So what are they? Write them down in your notes. And if you would like to, just top 1 item into the chat box. We might get all the presenters up for the last 3 minutes. If there's any specific questions that you guys have of these presenters. Here we go. Technology, automation, old school versus new school. Definitely. Interplay of tech and people and marketing, really understanding how to integrate. So it's not either or. If someone says you need to get online, they're wrong. You should be online already, but you need to have a hybrid. You need to have both. Keep analog, have process for clients onboarding, automate what we can. Brilliant. Thanks, Namiki. Kerry Ann, great reminders the pandemic has brought more opportunities to us. I do recall, I used to think very negatively about all the money the government's been printing and handing out to everybody. And then someone said, but these people that they're handing it out to have to spend it. So you can be on the spend end or the receive end. And I realized all of a sudden, oh my God, there's so much more money in circulation than there was 12 months ago. How do I get my hands on some of it? And the answer is to be there, right? Not to be spanning down the hatches and waiting till this is over, but to be in the marketplace where people are. Karen Powell, conversation and connection is so important, whether online or offline, 100%. We've got more opportunities now than ever. A few people have mentioned global is now part of their daily activity. We just had a call this morning in the US, which we've never done before. And I would never want to because it's so far away. But doing it on Zoom, it wasn't that far away, and it's a huge market. So really, I hope you got some great value out of today, guys. You know, today was really talking about how you can do both, be online and offline at the same time. Each one of the presenters today is highly skilled in their space, and you know who they are. They've introduced themselves to you. I'm going to make sure they send you an email with contact details if you'd like to have a personal chat with any one of them. My recommendation is chat with all of them. Initial conversations don't cost money, right? And if you can pick their brains and say, this is my business and what do you think I should do here? I'm pretty sure they're going to give you some guidance on all of that. So I wanted to give each of the presenters a nice round of applause and thank you for their contribution, their efforts this morning. And I'd like to thank you guys for hanging on the line for 90 minutes solid without stopping for a human break. So you might have to do that pretty much right on now. And I want you to enjoy the rest of your day. Wish you all the best for the rest of the year. There's not much of it left, and really love to hear back from you guys after the event. So thank you very much for your attendance, guys.